I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. Now, during our live Q&A on Wednesday night, we had a question in from a friend of mine, Simon Curd. Simon's thinking of buying a Telecaster. So what I thought I'd do in this video is just to run through all of my Telecaster style guitars and explain the difference, and then hopefully that's going to help Simon make his mind up, and hopefully that will help you guys if you guys are looking for a Telecaster. It would help you make your mind up on what to buy and, you know, what to consider. So I'm going to start with this guitar here, which is a Fender 1952 custom shop. Now, Telecasters for me are the ultimate guitar. They got it right the first time. Basically, a Telecaster, I've explained this before, but a Telecaster is just a slab body with a neck bolted on with a couple of pickups. But what this guitar does that's different to a lot of other guitars, it just cuts through the mix. And it's so much more versatile than people think. Even though it's got two pickups and they're both single coils, it's great for pop stuff, it's great for rock stuff, it's great for heavy rock stuff, and it's even great for sort of jazz stuff if you do that just by winding the tone control back, or by the old-fashioned wiring where in the third position you used to take all the treble out the circuit. So this guitar here is a Fender Custom Shop. It's a 1952. Now, let me just explain a couple of things about Fender Custom Shop guitars. First of all, the old style, the vintage style Fender Custom Shops are nitro cellulose lacquer. Now, what that means is it's the old-fashioned way of lacquering a guitar. Now, what happens with nitrocellulose lacquer is if I hold it up close, you can see that it cracks and it gets this nice sort of patina on it. I know some people really hate relic guitars. Personally, I love a relic guitar because it means that if I damage my guitar in the studio or when I'm playing live, it doesn't really matter because it just adds to the character of it. So I'm not precious about these particular guitars. Now, let me explain a little bit about this particular guitar before I go on to the others and give you some sounds. Now, this is a solid maple neck. Now, with these 52 style Telecasters, you get quite a fat vintage neck on it. Personally, again, I love that. I've got a couple of other guitars which have got very different radiuses and very different sort of neck shapes, and we'll talk about them in a minute. Now, Telecaster has a string through body design that adds, in my opinion, to the resonance of these guitars. They just sound fantastic. They've got a lot of sustain, and as I said earlier, they cut through the mix. Now, Telecaster sounds great clean. And by adding a bit of drive to it, they sound great, and as you can hear, they're really versatile. So let's go through some sounds. I'm going to start with the neck pickup, and I'll try and play the same thing on every single pickup selection. Now, if I switch to the middle position, and now the bridge. Now let's put some drive on, and I'll stay on the bridge position. And now middle position. And now neck. Now, I should explain that a Fender Custom Shop Telecaster like this one is quite expensive, but the great thing about buying a custom shop Telecaster, even if you buy one second hand, is that you know you're going to get a top quality instrument. What the Fender Custom Shop do is they pick up the best bits of wood, the best pickups, and the build quality is fantastic. Now, I've had American made Fender Telecasters from the standard factory before, and I've had some good ones and I've had some dud ones. So you always know that with a custom shop, you're going to get a top quality instrument. Now, even though this is an expensive instrument, if you look at Anderton's website, if you look for a second-hand one, you can pick up some bargains, and you know, even if you're buying it blind, that you're going to get a top quality instrument that's going to be absolutely fantastic. And as I said, you're paying for Fender's top quality pick of wood. The weight of this guitar is absolutely ridiculous. It's such a lightweight guitar and it's so resonant, which I always tend to go for. If I can find a lightweight guitar, I can almost guarantee that that guitar is going to sound better than a heavy sort of dead weight guitar. Let's go and grab another guitar. Now, technically, that pink 52 Telecaster is my only proper Fender Telecaster. If you look at this one on the headstock. Now, a Fender Esquire traditionally has one pickup. So I guess this was produced as a more sort of budget guitar because it did only have the one pickup. And Esquire still has a 3-way selector switch, and basically in the top position it just cuts off all the tone from the bridge pickup, and it's still quite a versatile sounding guitar. I personally love an Esquire. I think the one pickup is a great option if you're playing rock. Now, with these Esquires, they're routed for 2 pickups, so I decided to put a Seymour Duncan in the neck. Now, this guitar sounds different to my 52, as this is a 59. They changed the pickup design. It's got a rosewood neck, and it's just got an extra amount of treble to it. Let me just show you. So I'll play that clean part again on the neck position. Middle position. And now the bridge. And now let's add some drive. So that's the bridge position. Now we'll switch to middle. And now the neck position. Now hopefully YouTube sound hasn't ruined how this guitar sounds different to the pink one, but this has definitely got more output and it's a bright guitar. Now if I switch over to Sweetwater's website, you'll see that the price is actually very similar to the price of the Telecaster, even though it's only got one pickup. I don't know why Fender do this, but if you want like a rock and roll machine, it is an absolute beast of a guitar. Let's go and grab another guitar. Now this guitar is still a Telecaster style guitar as in the shape, but it's got 2 humbuckers. This is a Sir Alt T, and these pickups are thornbuckers. They're Pete Thorne's basically designed pickups. So these are fantastic. If you're looking for a twin humbucker guitar that sounds like a Tele, they're bright pickups in a PAF sort of style, so they're not high output at all. These are absolutely fantastic. Now this was a limited run. I don't know if they still make them with the thornbuckers. I know they make them with different humbuckers now, but you might still be able to get them with the thornbuckers, and they sound absolutely amazing. So let me just play you some sounds. Here's some drive sounds first. Now, as opposed to the Fender Telecasters, which have 3 different pickup positions, this one here's got 5. So we're actually splitting the coils. Now, one of the great things about Sir guitars and the way that they wire their pickups are that when you actually split a coil, you don't get the standard coil split where the volume drops drastically and the gain drops drastically. They still, I guess they add some windings in from the other coil like PRS do. Anyway, it sounds like this. Here's the second position. Here's third position, which is both humbuckers together. Fourth position. And lastly, fifth position, which is this humbucker. And now let's hear it clean. This is the neck humbucker. This is fourth position. The middle position. Second position. And now the bridge position. The eagle-eyed among you would have noticed that this has an F-hole on it. So this is a semi-hollow guitar. So basically from this section here, it's completely hollow, and it does resonate in a slightly different way to my Fender Telecasters. Now, I don't think the pickups are as bright on this guitar as on my Fenders because they are humbuckers. So a humbucker does tend to have a slightly duller sound, although this does have a lot of clarity. Now this guitar here is a poly finish, so this is not a nitro finish. Unfortunately, I would always go for, if I can, get a nitro finish, but when I bought this, they didn't do it. So this is a poly finish, polyurethane, which is a more modern sort of finish. Now the difference between a poly finish and a nitro finish is if you crack this, if you actually bang this and it cracks in a quite an ugly way where it actually sort of dents in and splits, as opposed to nitrocellulose, which, you know, if you dent it, it actually just cracks in a really sort of nice way and just looks more vintage. Price-wise, you're going to knock about £1,000 off if you buy a Sir Alt T over buying a Fender Custom Shop, but you're still getting that custom shop boutique quality if you buy a Sir guitar. Now, the last guitar I'm going to show you is this, which is a Reverend Gristle Master. Now, this is very different to the other guitars in the fact that this has active pickups. These are Fishman Fluence pickups. They sound fantastic. You actually get two different choices of sounds by pushing this little button down here, which I'll go through in a minute. Now, I didn't explain with the Alt T, but the Alt T, like the Reverend, has locking tuners. Personally, for me, I don't think a Telecaster really needs locking tuners, although it's really nice to have. As there's no tremolo, you don't really get a lot of movement with the strings, so they don't tend to go out of tune. So let's have a listen to some of the sounds, but you'll notice with this guitar that it has much higher output than the other two because of the active pickups. Let's have a look at the neck position first. Middle position. And now bridge position. So as I said, this guitar does have two different sounds. They say it's like a white guard telly, which is an early sort of 50s telly, and a black guard, which is a later telly. Now, personally, I think this is more of a volume boost than a change in sound. But if I take the button out now, so that was a bridge position. If I now switch to the middle position, it's a much more mellow sound with the button out. And now let's try it with some drive. Now with the button in. So that just pushes the gain just a little bit further. Middle position. Now, even though this does have active pickups, you can hear how it still sounds like a telly. In the neck position. Lastly, I'll just explain about the differences between this guitar and a Fender Telecaster. The body is bigger. It's a bigger size body. It was invented for Greg Koch, who's quite a big guy. So I'm guessing this is more sort of to suit his sort of body size, but it is a bigger size telly. The great thing about this, it's got a slight cutaway there, so it's really comfortable in getting up onto the top frets. And also the last thing about this is because it's an active guitar, it needs some sort of power going to it. So you've got a little charging port there, which is the USB port, and you just plug it in every now and again just to charge up the batteries. And to be honest, it lasts for ages, so you never really have to worry about it. If we look at the price of the Reverend Gristle Master, you'll see that they're drastically different to the other guitars. Now that's because this guitar is not made in the US, so the labour's cheaper wherever it's made. But by no means is this lesser of a guitar. If someone said to me, look, I've got £1,300, what guitar should I buy? I would highly recommend one of these, as they sound fantastic and they're really, really versatile. Anyway, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. I really hope you guys got something out of that. I know it's a slightly different video to what I normally do, but hopefully you did get something out of it. If you did get something out of it, don't forget to like and subscribe and click on the bell button and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul and I'll see you next time. Cheers.